All right, I'm going to demonstrate the stomach vacuum, which is basically a very dramatic looking, intense sort of core engagement. And this sort of bracing, what's more than bracing actually, it's basically sucking all the muscles in and pulling your abdomen as completely as you can. And this leads to things in yoga that you perform like Nauli, which is sort of an abdominal cleansing. I'm not going to go into that too much. But this is a good way to tune into the deep muscles of your core when you're trying to get into more intense hollow body holds, where you're pulling your belly button in toward your spine and trying to put a little bit of rounding or flatness to your low back to take the arch out. And it's good for a lot of movement, a lot of different core exercises, and just general bracing of your core. And it doesn't have to be as dramatic as what I'm going to show here, but you're trying to find some bracing that leads you into this direction and toward this level of intensity. So let me see if I can actually do this standing. It doesn't look too dramatic when you're standing up. But the way to really trigger this best is to let out a complete exhale and then basically just draw in as much as you can from your midsection. So with the air out, it pulls your diaphragm up and just pulls all the muscles of your core in tight. And so if I'm just standing tall, it's going to be harder to do it this way. But I'm going to let all my air out and then pull in. And so that is basically what you're taking this toward. Now, it's easier to do this typically if you come a little bit more toward a squat. So I'm going to set my feet out wide, heels in, toes out. This is wider than my hips. And let the knees bend with my hands on my thighs. And it's much easier to do it this way because you can already round your spine and already feel things draw in. So again, you let out all the air you can and then pull in. And there's a few things you can do with that. You can just hold on to that and hold on to that bracing. And when you pull in, you can even try to stretch yourself even longer. And there's ways to play around. And I would recommend just coming to this, trying to hold, maybe shift around a little bit and feel how that tension around the core really changes. And you can even feel a little bit of stretch to your spine. So I'll do this again. And again, it's much easier to do this with the knees bent and your spine already rounded. So let all the air out and then pull in. Now, it's not a very comfortable position to be in, and it's a good way to just tense up your core. So if you're doing some sort of core exercises or some sort of movement and you're not used to bracing through your midsection, it can help you tune into that. It's much more intense than you're going to need for typical movements, but it's a good way to start out. And I would recommend, if you have trouble holding this for more than 5 seconds, do at least 3 rounds of 5 seconds. Just go back and forth, take a little breath in between. You're going to be short of air. And if you're able to hold it longer, try to hold this as best you can. Let's see how long I can hold this. I'm not really sure. So again, I'm going to exhale all the air out and then pull the belly in. All right, I was going for at least a 15-second hold there. I think I got close. I'm not totally sure. I'll have to look at the video after this. But it's a good way, again, to just tune into all that intensity and you're going to feel a good burn with the muscles of your core. And again, it's a good way to tune into those muscles that wrap around, in particular the transverse abdominis. Anyway, hope this helps.